Round 2.
That brake must have got caught.
Welcome back to the channel. Today we got a HD6 Allis Chalmers. We'll walk around. It did run probably 5 years ago. Then they brought it over to this barn. It's sat in the barn for the last year. It's got the Allis Chalmers engine in it, I believe. I don't see any Detroit signs on it. So today we're going to try to get the batteries charged up a little bit. We check the oil and then see if it'll run. It seems like one of the clutches might be stuck in a brake. That's kind of the big deal breaker. If I can get this for the right price, so we're going to see if it'll run. And if it does, we might take the opportunity to try to purchase it. So let's get to it. So we're going to start out, I guess, first by just seeing if we have any life left in these batteries. Yeah, we're almost completely dead. I guess I should bump that up, since this would be 24 volts, but I ain't getting nothing there. Back to 20, nothing there, but also it could be because our key switch for the main power is missing, but we should still have battery life on those terminals as it's sitting there. Let's give this one a check as well. Okay, positive, negative. And so yeah, we got 2 batteries that are completely dead. So let's pop these out and go get them on the charger, and then next step will be to go through and we're going to clean out the trash in there, cleaned out some underneath of the engine bay by the starter so we don't have no leaves because there's mice nest in there. So we're going to take these out, get them hauled to the shop, and get them on charge. Here's my negative side, just so that way I don't forget what I'm doing here. Let's just mark this, the zip tie on this negative. We're gonna flip to the other side here. Same thing over here, our negative is here. Negative. We're gonna do the same thing here. Our negative side. We're gonna put a zip tie on the negatives so that way we know. Those are wet. I sprayed some WD-40 on there because I figured these bolts would not come loose, and they actually did. So, leads me to believe somebody took decent care of this machine. Why they had it. But specifically, I don't know. This side, I didn't even put any WD on because honestly, I just figured they'd break off, but they actually just come right loose. Spread these open with a screwdriver. Yep. Negative. Positive. Alright, so we have another cat battery. We're going to try it, and then I just have a regular 12-volt car battery. We're going to throw in here and see if it'll crank first before we get carried away buying batteries. I believe it is free. You know, they claimed it ran. They even made an exhaust manifold. Before the guy passed away, he made an exhaust manifold. But it sat for a while, so I don't believe that it is locked up. It should spin. Well, maybe not. I can't get it to crank there, but we're just gonna bump the key and find out. See if it even works. Then we're gonna bleed the fuel system after that. So let's get these batteries third in it, and let's see what that does. That ain't no good. So this side was our positive, and this side was our negative. There's the big master switch down there. There's no key, but we have a Caterpillar key. So let's give it a try. See if we can even get it to crank. Alright, so the key is gone. I dropped it and the dozer ate it. So we're just gonna loosen this and put it over here, and we'll see what that does. Fingers crossed that fixes it. Well, fingers crossed we can jump it that way, hopefully. Is it 14 maybe? Yep. Let's just unhook the batteries first. Alright, let's see what this does. Okay, we got the battery terminals connected together there. We're gonna come up here for the old smoke test. No sparks, no flames. That's good. Don't see anything smoking. Let's tighten it down a little. We're still good there. Let's come over here. Okay, nothing there, but I don't see anything happening on the gauges up there either. Might be a bad connection down there though. Let's tighten this up. Okay. So, let's see. Ooh, geez. Okay, so we had a bunch of sparks come out of there. But where from? Why are we sparking there? Is anything hot? Nothing seems to be hot. Oh, our ground back there. That ground's welding itself. Why are we welding ground? Let's unhook these batteries. So I think probably gonna have to track these back to make sure they're hooked up right. Here we got a positive. It is somewhat warm, but it looks like we're shooting down. That's got to be going to our starter. Let's set that there. Then we got this ground. It's coming over and hooking to this, which is our positive. So that's tying those together. And then that is just our ground. So maybe we need to take the ground off and clean it up. So let's try that. We're going to take the ground off. We're going to clean up this ground. Looks like a 14. It's probably really 9/16. Yeah, it's pretty dirty. Alright, so it's kind of hard to see, but I did get the ground lug cleaned up and ground area there cleaned up. So let's hook these batteries back up and let's see what we get. No sparks there, but at least we're trying to crank. Just hopefully it isn't a bad starter. I don't think it is. We're just gonna leave these loose for now and give that another try. Alright, so I'm not sure what's going on, but now we're sparking here. At the actual ground, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So let's see what's going on in there. Maybe we got some dirty connection in there. It slid right on pretty nice though, but it is hot. I mean, that is pretty much clean as can be. Why are we arcing on our ground? I hooked it right back up the way that it was, but who's to say it was correct? Let's try this again. Maybe it's because these were loose on the positive side. I'm not really sure. I'm not too familiar with 24-volt systems. Well, there's our first clicks. Now it seems like the starter's stuck where the engine is. Are we in gear maybe? I mean, I would think that would be in gear. Okay, so as I suspected, I think the engine might be stuck. Man, that'll suck. There isn't really a way to bar the engine over that I know of. But she is just spinning the belt. Well, that's not good because it's sat for a couple winters, so I wonder. And that's the stack. Oof, that's not good. So I wonder what these are. Can we take these off and see into the cylinder? I don't know. Let's go over here to this side and look. If there's anywhere maybe to bar over the engine. So those are your injectors, so I don't think we want to take these out. That goes into the head though. I don't see anywhere to bar the engine over from necessarily. No good spots anyways. But I do believe, I mean, that starter is humongous. I just can't see the starter being bad. It looks fairly new. It looks good anyways. You know, the water is hot going to it, but we are just deadheading it. You know, I see this broke off connector. And whatever that wire is just twisted on there. I would think it would still crank over though. I'm thinking that there might be a stuck engine. I know the cable coming up here is warm, which I would expect. Just click it and not get this crank. Let's click it just a few more times. I don't know what these caps would be for over here, other than maybe to get right into the cylinders. I don't know. Maybe we could take this out and see if there's any water. Alright, so one stud came out, one nut come off there. Just a cover plate with some exhaust on it. But there is a hole there. I wonder if I should take all those off and just run it and see what it does. Let's hit them all with some penetrating oil, kind of help them back out hopefully. That one looks like we're gonna have to wrench it out. say somebody's been in here because these are coming out pretty decent. There we go. This looks like it's just going to the exhaust side, so hopefully that's the ticket to getting in there. And hopefully it's not the starter. Try not to lose all this stuff. I'm just kind of laying these in order how they laid on there. I don't think they make a difference, but each of them have a hole in a different spot, so I don't know. There's got to be some correlation there with that. And of course this one, we might just be able to leave that one. Let's leave that one. Let's go back through and hook up our batteries. Then we'll give it another crank, I guess. That's not good. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that that isn't our problem, or there's rust rings in there, which probably is our problem. You know, that's probably true. We're probably up against a rust ring in there. How do you get past that on this engine? Let's see if this goes down in there. If it does, how far? Kind of seems like that's just a dead hole. And there is black around it, but I suppose when they put the new manifold on there would be. It probably would be, but you would think it would come out here for compressing probably some liquid. So that's not good. Alright, so we're going to try this injector first. I got the line loose on the bottom. It did spin right loose. So, I'm not sure. This one must be the return. The other one must be the inlet. So let's pull the return off of here. Let's pull that. Then let's pull down here and see if we can just pop out this first injector before we go too far with the other ones. Because as of right now, there seems to be a stuck clutch or something going on, and a brake on the right side. As we were pulling it out, you know, it's pretty froze up. I mean, it spins, it rolls freely, but that's about all it does. So maybe getting it running, we could pop it loose. Not real sure yet. Oh man, those are tight. It'd help if I didn't have a crescent wrench. And I had a wrench the right size. So if you know of any good wrench sets, good wrench rolls, that's what I want. A full complete wrench roll set. You know, like the one Sam off of Scrappy Industries has. I'd like to have that, something like that. You know, those are just good old tools. I don't know if you guys seen when he picked up the crane. He sucked his right into the fan belt of the little crane. And that little sucker, that stalled the engine out on that machine. I mean, that's impressive. And that leather carrying case is still together. You know, we don't have an unlimited budget. Would be nice to have an unlimited budget. Alright, well, I'm not going to bore you guys with this. I'm going to get this off there and I will bring you back when we go to loosen this up. Alright, so we got the lines undone. Let's see if we can get this socket on here, get these spun off. That one came out nicely. So did that. Well, the nut come off there, which is good. Let's get our lock washer off of there. Save it. Don't really want dirt getting in there, but maybe I could just stick that on there on the bottom until we can get something going here. Them little boogers are tight though. Should I just blow back through there? Probably just before we even try to start it again, if we can get it to crank. Should I see this has a head on it? Do I have to loosen that too? Kind of looks like maybe that'll spin out of there. Let's give that a try. Is it bigger than 7/8? Yeah. So it's definitely crescent wrench size. Probably need a bigger one than this to knock this loose, but let's give it a try. Oh. Alright, let's go grab a better crescent. Okay, we got the bigger crescent wrench. Got an 18-inch right here. Let's see if this will spin out of here. I don't know if it will or not. There we go. Didn't take much to knock it loose. Looks like we got like a copper gasket in there. Almost don't think I needed to take that off there. Let's just thread that back on there. Let's tighten that up. I don't believe that has to come off. Now saying that, looks like that probably has something to do with the timing on it. I don't know. But there's definitely an adjuster in there. Let's get a hammer and tap on that. Alright, so if we look down in here, we can see this access hole down to the flywheel. And I am able to get on it, and I did get it to spin. So the engine is no longer stuck. So let's hook up the batteries. We're going to leave that out. Let's hook these batteries back up and see if the starter now spins. I believe it does. It was just stuck in that spot and it couldn't get spinning. So let's give that a try. Hook up this battery. Fingers crossed. And then we can start bleeding the fuel system. Okay, let's go back up here. Maybe there is a stuck spot in it. But let's go up here to the fan and see if we can spin the fan a full revolution. Then maybe we'll know it's good. Let's unhook the batteries first. So that way nothing stupid happens. So that way I don't become a nub. Yes. it is spinning. It does have a tight spot though. Okay, I think that that's far enough that if it's going to spin over, it will, but these batteries might be too dead to do that. This one, that one over there I know is good. This one was used. It was showing some power, but I don't know if it's enough. So let's give it a try again. Man, she hits a hard spot right there. So it did crank over to where I stopped it at. So let's take these off. We have to get it to spin a full revolution. And then maybe it'll have enough oomph to get over top of whatever we're stuck
Basically, right here at this point, we just had another dozer show up, and it was on this farm, so we just went ahead and cold started this one. And as you can hear, it started right up, and it has a little bit of a miss, but otherwise everything started working. The clutch started working, the brakes started working. It would steer. There's a few leaks on the hydraulics, but to be expected for an older machine. But everything seemed to work, and as you can see, I'm changing the gears here. There's no shift pattern. I'm not really sure what the shift pattern was at that moment, but it looks like there's 3 forward gears and 3 reverses from what I could tell. And everything worked. We didn't try pushing with it. We just ran it back and forth to loosen everything up. And that's about where we left it, and we're still trying to discuss a price on it. So yeah, this is basically the video. We did get it running. It seems to run alright, and thanks for watching. Hope to see you again.